You just signed with the Clippers. Where are you at in your NBA journey?
I need a ring. I need a ring.
Bradley Beal didn't come to LA for touches. He came for a parade. After signing with the Clippers, he dropped 4 words that tell you everything about his mindset. I need a ring. That's not a slogan, it's a line in the sand. For years, Beal was the bucket getter everyone praised from a distance. Silky footwork, 3-level scoring, loyalty that bordered on stubborn. But this move isn't about comfort. It's a gamble on pressure, on a locker room of veterans who are done chasing numbers and only care about banners. Kawhi's stoic. The expectations are heavy. The window is small. Beal just walked right into the fire and asked for more. What makes this different is role clarity. He doesn't have to be a savior. He gets to be the closer's accomplice. The Clippers can weaponize him off movement, punish switches, and live in his mid-range if defenses sell out on their stars. And here's the detail most people missed. The small gestures behind the scenes that signal real chemistry. Respect given, roles accepted, egos checked. This isn't a comeback tour. It's a countdown. Beal bet his legacy on Los Angeles, put the league on notice, and dared the West to blink first. He didn't sign for hype. He signed for June. And that's where our story starts. It wasn't a press conference cliche. It was a challenge. I need a ring. 4 words dropped in a hometown interview, and suddenly the entire Clippers facility felt louder. Not because Bradley Beal was chasing a new contract. He'd already signed, because he was planting a flag. That line reframed his whole career arc in one breath. The only loyal scorer who stayed through rebuilds and took the heat for ugly seasons just told the league he's done with moral victories. No more empty 30 balls, no more nice numbers, tough loss. This is about June. The timing mattered. It came right after the ink dried, before anyone could spin narratives about comfort or California vibes. Beal flipped the script. He didn't come for lifestyle, he came for legacy. And the message wasn't only for fans, it was for the room, for the stars he'll share the floor with, for the coach who will decide who closes, for the West, where every contender has a plan until someone punches first. That's why this quote travels. It's short, raw, and leaves no exit ramp. Either he lifts a trophy or he owns the fallout. But that wasn't the only statement he made this summer. One subtle gesture inside the locker room said even more. Strip away the noise and the numbers tell you the mindset. Beal didn't chase one last mega deal. He took a 1+1 with the Clippers, 2 years around $11 million with a player option for 2026-27, right after Phoenix bought out the final 2 years of his contract. That's a bet on urgency. Short money, short runway, maximum pressure to win now. Why could LA thread this needle? Timing and capcraft. They'd already carved out most of the non-taxpayer mid-level to land Brook Lopez on a 2-year deal, then slid Beal into a smaller number that preserves flexibility for in-season moves and next summer's decisions. It's the opposite of the old stars eat the cap model. Depth first, then a hungry scorer on a prove-it structure. From Beal's side, the message is louder than the money. He walked away from a comfortable situation in Phoenix, where the buyout and stretch spread his remaining checks over multiple years to chase June in LA. That's not a PR line. Oddsmakers barely moved the Clippers' title odds when he signed, which only adds fuel to the personal bet he just made. If this hits, he opts out into leverage. If it misses, the market judges fast. Bottom line, a team-friendly contract with star-level stakes. It keeps the front office nimble, keeps Beal hungry, and keeps everyone staring at one date on the calendar. And if you're wondering whether the locker room bought in, a small, classy gesture from Beal answered that before camp even opened. Beal's Phoenix chapter was supposed to be a super team shortcut. Instead, it became the cautionary tale of modern cap math. The no-trade clause he earned in Washington followed him like a price tag the Suns couldn't peel off. And when the injuries and fit questions piled up, there was no easy exit. By July, both sides chose the clean break. Beal gave back money to finalize a buyout, and Phoenix swallowed the wave and stretch. Dead cap for 5 years just to move on. That's not spin, that's a franchise paying real dollars to erase a mistake. The box score didn't help the optics. In 2024-25, he logged only 53 games and averaged 17 points per game, efficient but nowhere near the DC version that terrified defenses. Context matters. Touches were thinner next to a ball-dominant core, and his best work came as a secondary scorer instead of a heliocentric engine. Still, the narrative hardened. Big contract, smaller role, limited availability. That's exactly why the Clippers' move feels like a controlled reset rather than a victory lap. LA reframed him overnight. 2 years, team-friendly number, a player option as a pressure valve, and a room full of vets who don't need him to be a savior. The Clippers aren't asking for 30 a night. They're asking for timely buckets, clean spacing, and playoff-proof decision-making. In other words, a reputation rebuild by role clarity. If he delivers, the overpaid, underavailable label dies fast. If he doesn't, the contract keeps the franchise nimble. Either way, the Phoenix baggage stays in the desert. Now the question flips from was he worth it to how high does he raise LA's ceiling? And that's where the summer reload around him gets interesting.
This wasn't a quiet retool. It was a full-on construction project. First came the front court muscle, Brook Lopez on a 2-year, $18 million deal, a 7-footer who drags bigs out of the paint and plugs the rim on the other end. That signing alone changed LA's second unit geometry. Then they raided the trade market. John Collins arrived in a 3-team swap that shipped Norman Powell to Miami, giving Ty Lue a vertical spacer at the 4 who can screen, dive, and finish above the square. It's a cleaner fit next to Ivica Zubac and frees Kawhi to play to his own tempo. Deadline business set the table too. Bogdan Bogdanovic, movement shooter, secondary handler, landed from Atlanta for Terrence Mann and Bones Highland. That's a lot of gravity coming off floppy and Spain actions, exactly what Harden-led groups weaponized. And then came the headline. Chris Paul back in LA on a 1-year, $3.6 million deal to quarterback the bench and close when the game slows to a crawl. It's a role he's overqualified for, and the locker room chemistry boost is real. Projected 5, everywhere looks the same. Harden, Beal, Kawhi, Collins, Zubac, with CP3, Lopez, and Bogdanovic as the first wave off the bench. Add Chris Dunn as a point of attack stopper for target-hunting matchups, and Lue has toggles for any playoff problem. The blueprint is obvious. Surround 2-star wings and a ball-dominant creator with size, spacing, and decision-making, then let depth win the minutes that usually sink contenders. On paper, it's the deepest LA has looked in years, but paper doesn't guard anyone in May, which is why the next question is simple and uncomfortable. How do you hide a Harden-Beal backcourt when teams start hunting switches? This version of Bradley Beal isn't supposed to carry a franchise on his back. He's supposed to slice teams open while they're busy worrying about everyone else. Harden handles the heavy steering, initial action, tempo, reads. Kawhi is the closer, last 5 minutes, mismatch hunting, surgical mid-post. Beal lives in the gaps between those two rhythms. That means early offense threes in trail position, empty corner pick and rolls where the weak side can't help, and DHOs with Zubac that flow right into Spain actions if defenses top-lock him. If they switch, Beal's footwork punishes bigs. If they drop, he walks into the pull-up. Simple, deadly, repeatable. Staggering solves the oxygen problem. When Kawhi sits, Beal gets more handle touches with Harden or CP3 toggling him into pistol and horns twist sets, quick hitters that don't bog the offense down. Second unit, pair him with Brook Lopez for pick-and-pop gravity or with Collins for ghost screens that force indecision at the point of attack. Bogdanovic adds the chase. Run double pin downs and let Beal curl into the elbow where his touch is elite. He doesn't need 20 isolations, he needs 12 high-value touches that tilt a game. Shot profile matters. Catch-and-shoot threes keep defenses honest, but the Clippers really weaponize Beal's mid-range pacing. 2 hard dribbles into space while Harden relocates and Kawhi lurks on the dunker spot. It turns help into a mistake. And because Ty Lue loves interchangeability, you'll see Beal set screens too, slipping out for clean looks while defenses pre-switch to protect their stars. It's unspectacular on paper, brutal on film. Here's the kicker. Offense was never the doubt. The West will hunt the weakest link. So how does LA solve the Harden-Beal math problem when the lights get mean? Playoff basketball is a search engine for weak links. Every possession, someone's cursor hovers over Harden-Beal. Opponents will run them through pin-ins, Spain actions, and empty side pick and rolls until a mismatch pops. The answer isn't one scheme, it's layers. First, the base. Zubac and deep drop against non-shooting guards keeps the rim clean and the rebounding stable. When teams bring a stretch big, flip to show and recover, or ice the side PNR, funneling ball handlers to the baseline where the tag is predictable. Beal's job? Nail the rear view contest and fight over screens like the possession is a tie game. Harden's? Beal switch the lane, not the ball, and uses chest strength to kill drives. Simple rules, fewer fires. Second, the toggles. Versus heliocentric guards, Ty Lue can close with Chris Dunn as the point of attack bouncer, sliding Beal onto a low-usage spacer and letting Kawhi take the primary wing. Against jumbo creators, bring Brook Lopez to box the paint and dare floaters. If teams spam ghost screens and slips, switch with John Collins and scram Beal out on the second beat. Pre-switching matters. Start possessions with Beal on the weak side corner so the first action can't find him. Third, the curveballs. Matchup zone after dead balls to confuse set play teams. A box and one for 2 trips to steal rhythm from an on-fire guard. Late clock blitz to force the ball out, then rotate behind it with length. The key is acceptance. You won't erase every target, you just make the hunts expensive. More passes, tighter windows, uglier shots. If LA turns Harden Beal from a liability into a tax teams hate to pay, the offense buys them the rest. And one small moment inside the room hinted at the buy-in is real. Something about a number that didn't stay Beal's for long.
Before a single practice, Beal made the kind of move veterans remember. He handed number 3 to Chris Paul. No fuss, no press release, just respect. To most fans, it's a jersey swap. Inside a locker room, it's a message. I know the history. I'm here to fit the mission, not make it about me. That matters with this group. CP3 is the organizer, the voice that turns 5 good players into 1 clean possession. Giving him his number back isn't just nostalgia for the Lob City era. It's recognition that the second unit runs on his cadence, that late-game execution needs his fingerprints, and that the room works better when the hierarchy is obvious. Beal saying, "Give the pilot his controls. I'll be the blade on the wing." Symbolism becomes substance when the minutes get muddy. Close games don't reward star power, they reward clarity. Who talks in the huddle? Who sets the screen angle? Who calls 51 delay when the crowd is deafening? Beal easing into that rhythm, screening for CP3 on a ghost, cutting hard when the tag shows, spacing with intent, turns chemistry into points. It's the difference between a my turn, your turn offense and a machine that churns the same quality look 3 possessions in a row. And because veterans clock everything, that gesture buys equity. Miss a shot? Fine. The effort plays say more. Take a smaller role one night? Cool. Your number already proved the point. That's how a new star avoids stepping on toes and starts stepping on throats. Nice symbolism, sure, but banners aren't hung on vibes. What's the real range here? The ceiling if it clicks, the floor if it cracks, and how fast does the clock start ticking? The ceiling is loud. If the spacing holds and the health gods cooperate, this team can be a top 5 half-court offense with a closing unit that feels inevitable. Harden steering, Kawhi hunting, Beal slicing, plus one of Lopez or Collins to set the screens and own the glass. That version of the Clippers turns every trip into a math problem. Rim protection on one end, 3-level shot creation on the other. It looks like 10-2 runs out of nowhere and playoff games that shrink to the mid-range Kawhi loves and the pull-ups Beal punishes. That version wins in May. The floor is simple too. One soft tissue tweak to a star and the house of cards wobbles. If defenses drag Harden and Beal into deep water and the help rotations are late, you start seeing foul trouble on the bigs, bench minutes stretch thin, and fourth quarters that tilt on one bad turnover. In a West with length and shot-making everywhere, one cold week drops you from home court to the play-in. The margin is razor thin, and everyone knows it. And then there's the clock. Beal's 1+1 isn't wallpaper, it's a metronome. Every road trip, every 2-for-1, every huddle has stakes because this roster could look different a year from now. That pressure can crack a room or refine it. The bet here is that Ty Lue leans into versatility. Dunn for defense in closing lineups, Lopez when the paint is a war zone, and Bogdanovich when you need a clean look in 10 seconds. No sentiment, just solutions. So what's the real prediction? If the Clippers stay mostly healthy and defend at a respectable level, they have conference finals equity with title upside. If not, it's a first-round fight where the wrong matchup exposes every seam. Either way, the timer's already ticking, and Beal lit the fuse the moment he said, "I need a ring."